Happy Monday 308. Hopefully you are watching this before you do your math work, because otherwise your math work is really hard. So this week we are going to talk about adding and subtracting fractions, and we're going to start with the idea of decomposing a fraction into smaller fractions. So before I even get into that idea, I have a very important piece of information for you. Any fraction, doesn't matter the denominator, any fraction with a numerator of 1 is called a unit fraction. Any fraction with a numerator of 1, so 1 on top, is called a unit fraction. So that could be 1/2, right? That's the most common, like a landmark we always think about. It could be 1/3, it could be 1/16, it could be 1/100th, 1/1000th. It doesn't matter what number's in the denominator. What matters is the number in the numerator. So any fraction with a 1 in the numerator is a unit fraction. So I'm just going to write some examples. 1/2, 1/16, 1/8, 1/10, 1/5, 1/12, and so on. So these fractions, unit fractions, can't be broken down because I can't say something plus something equals 1/2. There's no smaller half. So these are our most basic fractions. But other fractions, like 5/8, can be broken down. Decompose just means to break down. We've broken down lots of numbers before. So even though we're decomposing, we're really just breaking down fractions. So we can't break down a unit fraction, but we can break down other fractions. So we're going to just break them down into smaller fractions. So the easiest way to do this is break it down into your unit fractions. Let's do some examples. Let's think of the fraction 2/3, right? If I'm going to draw it, I have my thirds. I'm going to shade in 2 of them. So really, 2/3 is the same as saying 1/3 here plus 1/3 here. Right? I have 1/3, I have another 1/3, and that equals 2/3. Boom! I just decomposed this fraction. Draw it, and you can literally make it the sum of unit fractions. That's what we're going to start with, and then I'll show you more complicated. So let's say we have 4/5. First, draw it. Always draw a rectangle for your model. You guys have been really good about that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equal pieces. I'm going to shade in 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to say, how many unit fractions, how many little fifths do I have? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. Each of these shaded pieces is 1/5. That's my unit fraction. And so I could just add them all together to make my big fraction 4/5. So, here's my water bottle. I have 1/5 here. I have 1/5 here. I have 1/5 here. And I have another 1/5. So 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5 totals into 4/5. And that's a really easy way to break down fractions. Just say, okay, what are the unit fractions that go into it? However, if you wanted to also break it down in different ways, I could break down 4/5 into different fractions. I don't have to just say 1/5, 1/5, 1/5. I could think, hey, I see, 2/5 here and another 2/5. So if I have 2/5 plus 2/5, I can also make 4/5. So these two equations, 2/5 plus 2/5 and 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5, they're equivalent because they both equal 4/5. So there's lots of ways you can break down fractions, basically, is my point. And that's what you're going to be doing in your workbook today. You're going to be doing 7/8 and one other fraction, and you can break them down in lots of different ways. My recommendation, draw it first, and then use your unit fractions, and then find other ways to break it down. I'm going to do one more example. Try it along with me. So I'm going to give you the fraction. I'm not going to talk it through as much. I want you to try it out before I give the answers. Normally in class, you'd be doing this in front of me. I can't see you, but I know that you guys are going to have integrity and do what I ask. So if you need to pause, grab some paper, get a pencil, do your thing, no problem. The fraction we're going to break down or decompose is 4/6. 4/6. 4/6. Think, what's your first step? Besides just writing down the fraction I told you. If you look over here, yep, I drew it before I went going. I'm going to draw 4/6. I'm going to break it down in a few different ways. See how many different ways you could break down 4/6. I did a lot. So hopefully you did a few of them. I just did 4 examples. I could actually probably come up with one more. The first one, you probably have that one, sum of unit fractions, right? I'm just repeating 1/6 over and over to get to my 4/6. So 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 equals 4/6. And that's just what I shaded in. That's my picture, right? My next one, 2/6 plus 2/6. So I thought of 2 of my 6ths plus 2 of my 6ths, right? I'll highlight them for you. 2/6 and another 2/6 equals 4/6. Also 2/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6, or 3/6 and 1 more 6th equals 4/6. It's really hard to say 6th over and over and over. Did you guys notice that? It's hard. So hopefully you had a few of those. If you're like, totally, I don't understand this, watch this video again, slowly, draw out your fractions, and then ask me a question. But try it. This isn't that complicated. It's really like, you'll notice a pattern. It's actually really simple addition, secretly. So yes, break down your fractions into unit fractions, break down your fractions into smaller fractions. We're decomposing fractions today. Good luck. See you guys later.